Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Paranormal Pride. I'm your host, Denise Pridemore, along with my co-host, Ron. You guys should know him by now, I hope.
Hello.
I hope everyone's doing well. I wanted to give an update.
Side kick or front kick?
Crotch kick? I don't know. I wanted to give everybody an update on my nephew, Vincent. I got word today that he's not in a coma. He was able to sit up. They sat him up on the edge of the bed, and they had to cover his trach, and they asked him if he knew who he was, and he said, "I'm Boomer," which is his name. I call him Vincent, but he is able to speak, so he's no longer in a coma. So one more great thing to hear, and so please keep those positive prayers and thoughts coming. We go to see him in Bristol here in a couple weeks, so we're really excited to go see him. So other than that, and my other nephew's doing fine too. He's in his next round of chemo, and we're going to see him too in a couple weeks as well. So please keep those prayers coming, and I totally appreciate it. I also want to say hello to Todd and CJ out on the ship, roaming around out there to know that, yeah, we don't know where you are, but we know you're listening. So we'd like to thank you so much for listening on the ship. So I'd like to welcome our guest, Mark Elliott Fults. He's an author, is a good friend of ours. We work with him through the Milton Paranormal Meetup every month. And we just have hit it off so good. I'm just so glad that I got to go up and meet him that day, and that we've been like this for almost 2 years now. Yeah. So we'd like to welcome Mark to the show.
Howdy.
Hi.
Hello, Mark.
So,
and my mom just joined us. Hello, Mom.
And hey, Raymond. So, you know, we didn't have a paranormal meetup this month because, you know, that last meetup we had was really good. We took that nice walk through Milton with the historian, and that was the day that I had found out about my nephew having a tree fall on him. So you figure that's been 33 days now.
Yeah.
And today was the first day that I got really excellent news. And but you know, that whole walk, you know, I'm sitting there the whole time waiting for my phone to ring, you know, to find out something. And
it's also the same night we found out it was karaoke night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we may have a new place.
Yeah,
next
we might
month.
have.
So
guess how far away? 1 block.
How far? Oh, really?
Yep. And it's a bar too. Yeah.
Wonderful.
The gym. So I got to call them tomorrow and talk to them, but it was suggested, and they have private rooms, so we can actually have a nice quiet meeting as opposed to karaoke and trivia night and whatever crappy music they pick up on the.
Well, and if we have a quiet place, we can do things like, you know, do meditations and talk.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because we already know how wild that gets on karaoke night.
So, but yeah, I mean, we've had such a good turnout.
Yeah.
Consistent turnout. Let's just say that consistent turnout.
Consistent.
And even when it was really cold outside and we were doing it outside, we still had a good turnout. So I'm really impressed. I've been telling people, random people that I meet in the grocery store and at the library.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody that showed up, I mean, they all seem to really enjoy it. A lot of them keep coming back. So
keep coming back, and
something's going right.
Yeah. And it's low key, you know, I mean, it's not, you know, a pressure cell or anything like that, you know, so.
That was one of the things that I had to tell somebody. They go, yeah, we have the space you can use for this much a month. And I'm like, I said,
this is for fun.
Yeah, this is for fun, not for profit.
Yeah.
And I said, if we'd been in Kansas City, we'd be doing this in a library.
Yeah.
You know, because our libraries are open until, 9:00 at night.
Yep.
Where here they close at 5.
Yeah.
Which is kind of confusing to me. I guess kids don't get that much homework.
I guess not. But it's, well, but it's like going back to the old days. Everything kind of rolls up at 6 o'clock, and you know, what can you do?
Not much. So
Not much.
how's your cookbook sales going?
Well, they're doing pretty good, and I'm still working towards the cooking show. I'm hoping,
Okay.
hoping, hoping, hoping. And because when you start to do something, it's it like that, you have to make sure you're doing it right the first time. And I would rather it be done right the first time than do it and be backpedaling the whole time. Because I have to
That's
make sure
funny.
everything is copyrighted. Da, 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 da.
Right.
That's funny that you
So
say
it's
that
so
because
it's fun though. But I'm enjoying it.
it's funny that you say that because I sign my emails for work to say there's two ways to do things, right and again. I don't want
And
to do it
I'm
again.
too old to be doing them again and again. I want it when it's done. I want it to be as fun as it can be, as understandable as it can be, and I want everything. And two, I'm kind of visual, so I want it all to look the way I want it to look. So that has taken forever, but when it gets there, I just think it's going to be like a duck to water. I think it's a lot of fun. I enjoyed that, and Sin Shredder Hill, who I do my books with, and I just did some covers for her, some illustrations, and we're working on books and books and books and books and books and books. So you know, she's so it's I haven't been online a lot because I'm just trying to get my focus going because I mean I'm a disabled psychic, so it takes me a minute, but once I finally get it, it's done. I'm like a bull in a china shop. So
Yeah, we
we're doing
kind
it.
of know that about you. We
Yeah.
kind of already know that. So have you decided which recipes you're going to start out with on the cooking show?
Well, since the first show will be about my grandmother, I don't know. I have to watch out. I always want to call her something.
I know.
Um, I'll probably do it as a tribute to her, which will be either her cookies, her oatmeal cookies, which my cousin and I mean, we were the last ones to get to try them in the 70s before she quit cooking them. But they were so good. Um, and her fried pies and her chicken. And I'm having to work on frying chicken because my chicken tastes good, but it looks like crap. And it's a whole technique for it, and I don't have the technique for it yet. But I found a way. I think that will be easier for me, where you fry it in butter a little bit, and then you put it in a skillet, cover it, and let it fry for about. I mean, basically cook in the oven for like an hour. So
So kind of
um,
like a Dutch oven type
kind of like a Dutch
recipe.
oven kind of thing. But she could fry the best chicken, but it was always done in lard, so it was always real
Yeah.
greasy. But when I was a
Oh
little
yeah.
kid, I was like, "Oh my lord, it's
Did
so good!"
did she teach you how to cook, or did you just
Hell
kind of have to?
no! That
I was
old
gonna say,
witch,
you had to
that old
figure it
witch.
out.
I told you
No,
she pushed
oh no,
everybody
keep
out of the
going.
kitchen.
Yeah, that's
Keep
what I was
going.
thinking.
No, she wouldn't give you a recipe. If she gave you a recipe, she'd leave stuff out so it would turn to crap.
Oh,
Because that was before the internet, and she did that to
that's what I thought.
my ex sister in law. She did that twice. My sister in law was dumb enough to go back twice, thinking she had made a mistake, and no, that old woman. If she had known I was going to get those recipes, she hadn't thought about it, or she would have burned everything.
Right.
And my father was the same way. He wouldn't tell you a recipe for love nor money, and he was a good cook like she was. And so I'm putting it all in there. My mother's recipes, her recipes, my dad's recipes, my recipes that I like. I've found some really just unusual. One of my favorite things I like now is zombie cake, and it has spiced rum and banana in it, and a devil foods
Okay.
cake.
I
And
can do
oh
that.
my Lord, it's good. So I put my stuff in, and I came up with a goblin cake for Halloween
Yeah.
because
I
it's so
make this.
weird. You'll be gobbling it up.
I make this. I make moonshine cakes,
Okay.
and I can't get anybody to not eat them.
Well, when
So
we're going to be doing a series of books by ghost hunters, so when we do that, I'll get you to put some recipes in because it'll
please
be
hunt
fun.
me
We
down. I
enjoy it.
will.
Oh yeah,
I
but now we've got it conquered. I tell you what, this was a hard book. This was as hard. This was really giving birth to something we weren't quite ready for, but because we went, oh, this is going to be fun, and it was fun, but it was just, all the measurements and all the structure made it very tedious. But it
yes.
was fun. I mean, I did about 1,700 recipes. It's as big as a phone book, and so it's been fun. But yeah, my grandmother wouldn't give you a recipe for nothing, and if she did, you wouldn't want to eat what she gave you, what the recipe
Yeah.
turned out. And she knew but she was raised on basically a farm in Texas, and all the children, all the girls, when they were 6 and 7, they would put them. Well, when you were 7, they'd put you at the counter, and you'd start making biscuits. Then you would learn to cook, and then you would become the cook for the field hands, and that's how they all learned. And they were really good Southern cooks, but horrible people, horrible. So, horrible.
Customer
But
service was not their strong suit. You're saying?
no, they were evil people. But um, the things that she created. I mean, I was 12 or 13 when she quit cooking, and I'm 63 now. And I mean, we all remember, some really good stuff. But she just was, and when we were packing up her house, when after she finally died and went to wherever asbestos underwear would take her, I opened up a box and there were her recipes, which I thought surely she
Mm.
got rid of all of those.
Yeah.
And
Or you thought they were in her head?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
well most of them were. And but she had collected a lot of different ones, and the one on top, was a flaming peach cake, and I went, well, I can relate. And so I thought, well, I got to looking at them and thought, it was. I remembered her food and always want, you sit there and remember and want to have it
Right.
and recreate it. And so that was in 96, 97. So I've been storing them a long time. So, but the cooking show will be a lot of fun because, and it's just going to be crazy. I'm just going to make it as fun and bizarre as possible.
Oh,
So,
I have no doubt. No doubt at all.
we'll see. We'll see. And then I'm going to talk Southern, so I'll have to put closed captioning for people who don't talk Southern. And because we talk like this, Yins, y'all come over and have
Oh yeah.
some chicken.
Yeah, Ron makes fun of some of the stuff that he's heard my family say.
Well, yeah, they used to say a lot of yins and narn and narn. And I remember when my sister-in-law, they were real country, southern country. And my niece was like 9 months old, and they had colic or whatever it's called. And so her mother wanted to take 9 roly-poly bugs, roll them in a rag, and put them around her neck, and that would cure colic. I was like, oh. And they wouldn't let you, if you cut hair, because she would cut her son's hair, you don't sweep it outside because the birds will get it, make a nest, and you'll have a headache.
Okay.
That kind of stuff, old Southern thing. And if you
I have a
lost
book about that stuff.
huh?
Yeah.
I have a book
Oh,
about
yeah.
that kind of stuff from the
Oh, yeah.
Ozarks. And so, because
Oh,
the
yeah.
Ozarks are somewhat different than the Appalachians, but not
Yes.
much. That's
Not
what's really
much.
funny, that there's not much difference.
Not much. And then my great great grandfather got his arm cut off in a grist mill. So when they found him, he was picking up all the parts, and he put them in a big jar and pickled them, because they felt like if you lost an organ or a finger or whatever, you keep it, because if you buried it or got rid of it or couldn't find it, that you would have phantom pains. So my father used to hate to go in their cellar, because there'd be that hand in the jar, you know. And I was like, oh,
So when
but
he died, did they bury it with him?
yeah, that's what
Okay.
they would
Yeah.
do. If
Okay.
when you died, your part that was missing, if you were able to find it, then you buried it with them when they died. And if you didn't during lifetime, they would have that phantom pain where the aura still, even though your arm might be gone, your aura is still functioning, so you still feel the aura where the arm was, and that's what causes the phantom pain. So actually, it has kind of a real thing. But because I've known somebody who lost their arm to cancer, and they had done tests on him, and they could still, they could see there was something still there. So, and he could feel his arm energy wise, but he couldn't see his arm because, of course, it was gone. So, so it's just part of the electrical system, but it'll make the phantom pains. And they thought that if you didn't keep it, you'd be suffering for it. So, but that kind of stuff, anything weird, they would go for it. So it was
But
the old.
yet they weren't in. I mean, apparently they knew that they had some kind of ability, but they denied it. Is that kind of how your family looked at it?
Well, my mother's family, my grandmother and my a great grandmother was very psychic. We had several psychic people in our family, but my grandmother was very Christian, so they kind of jokingly, they were in awe, but they were weirded out by it. And then when I came along, and as a kid started telling them stuff, then they just were like, but like it was bad for me to do it. But uh, my granny was a great psychic. She, if it was a disaster, she would know it. And one of the stories they would tell is several of her children they had 10 kids, so 4 or 5 of them were still at home in 1950, and I think it was her youngest one, next to the oldest. I'm trying to remember which one. His name was Chick. He was like 25 years old in 1950. I think he was like the second or third boy. And he was living with them, and he was going to go to a place called Spring City and with some friends. And my granny, said, "Don't go. If you go, you won't come back." And he said, thought she was full. They would always, yeah, whatever. We'll be back. And she just wouldn't let it go. And she got a chair and sat. She would go to bed when the chickens went to bed, and she sat there, fully dressed, sat in a chair facing the door, waiting for him to come home. And and all the other children they were all like 18, 19, 20s. They were She freaked him out, because she was like, he's not coming back. And they got her to lay down for a while, and she just refused to. She said, he's not coming back, he's gonna die. And about 2 a.m, one of her some of her other children had come over to try and get her, to calm down. And we were related to the funeral home in Chattanooga. There was Coulter Funeral Home, and there was one of her relatives named Allie Coulter, and Allie Coulter called on the phone at 2 in the morning in 1950, and my Uncle Bill answered it and said, "Oh, thank you. Can you talk to Mom and tell her she's being silly?" And they said, "No, he was killed in a car wreck. He hit an embankment coming back. His car hit an embankment on a bridge and killed him and two of his friends, instantly." And so she just knew it. She wouldn't, and now that they would kind of whisper about that. But it was a weird thing, and they were fascinated by the stuff I would see or tell them. But then they thought I was evil because it was me, I guess, because I was just different. So, the newer generation. So, but I get it, pretty natural. And then, other things have happened, like being murdered, coming back from that. And I've had about 6 concussions in my life. So, just from the rough background I came from. And so it's, it's, I get it natural, but then I've learned how to take it further and how to control it. Because it's one thing to have it natural. It's another thing to know how to filter out things and focus and, listen. And that took me a long time to do.
So when we met up last month, in June, you were telling us about something that we needed to talk about. You talked to me about it then, and it's something that is very strange.
Yeah.
That you wouldn't think that this is happening in mainstream America, even though Tennessee is not mainstream in some senses of the word, but every town is modernized to a point. So you told me this story, you showed me some pictures, and the first thing I thought was, and I told you that at the time, we need to talk to people about stuff like this so that they don't get caught up by not knowing. By not knowing. And so I don't know how to truly address it.
We thought there were places out there like this, but
you just confirmed
to this extreme. I mean, that was
that
was crazy.
Very extreme. And to tell people, I started off as a Wiccan when I was 18, and I'm a witch, and I'm also an energy technician, and I've been through a lot of stuff. So I have a lot of things I think I've been exposed to that not everybody gets the chance to. And in the 70s and 80s, I was exposed to different, metaphysical occult things that the freaky, weird stuff that you just go, well, that can't be real. That just can't be real. And then you're experiencing it, and you're going, so it's like, you learn a lot. You don't really, as people, we really don't know everything. And so I try to keep my mind open. Now, there are quite a few things I will go, yeah. But if I experience it, then, I have to go, well, I have to put that in my library as well. And I won't use any names right now. But the place that we went to, the people I was working with, I do a thing of, they find the place and I say, don't tell me anything. Let me go in, and then I write down my remotes and my stuff, and then I go in, and that way they're not giving me anything. And we went to this place, And before I went, I had everyone that was in the group got approached by this energy. And I was the only one that had the really weird experience with it, where it threatened me and I attacked it back. I was like, I went after it. And I thought, because my system told me it was, what it was and how bad it was. And so when we went on this excursion, I did my remotes. I told all the people with me what I saw, and usually in my experience, when people, the very common thing for a lot of people to go and say it's a demon, it's a this, it's a, everything's a demon. And it's
Mhm.
like, no, it really has to be, just because a cabinet opens doesn't mean it's or a door closes, it doesn't mean it's a demon. Demonic activity is demon. And, and there are different kinds of things from experience that I've seen and experienced, had to deal with, that, a lot of people take their cues, which I'm really over it, take their cues from watching The Exorcist. And they think that's the training film. And if it doesn't fit that criteria, then they don't think it's a real demon, or they don't, and the Christian idea of the fallen angel demons is different than the earthy demonic energies like we were dealing with. It's a different kind of thing. It's not the fallen angel kind of thing. But it is very, it's the epitome of what people think of as a demonic. And so very rarely do you see any of that. And in this case, I got to see 2 major and 2 minor types. And but when I went to the place, I'd done my remote. I knew what the name of the main one that was being hidden in the building was. And so when I got to the front gate, before I went in we went into the front gate. They saw us and made their assessments, I guess, because it was being used as a ghost hunt kind of thing. And this isn't ghost hunting stuff. This is it. It has a whole different thing. So I took them back outside the gate, the people who were talking to us that were acting on behalf of the owner, and I told them the name of the major demon in the building by name, and also, where different bodies and things like that on the properties and remains and things like that. And they go, oh yeah. And they took me grabbed me like I was a long lost cousin, and took me in and showed me the altar where it was hidden, because it's hidden by a scrim, and the altar that is used for that specific energy. And the whole place is enclosed, and it's, when you come in, they'll tell you, it's on you, the energy will be on you, and it'll be on you until you leave. Well, the whole thing, when you come in, the front doors are portals. So once you're entering, even though you think you're going in on a ghost hunt, you're going into a place to feed this energy, because it keeps the energy going. And I haven't seen anything this complex, this thought out. The whole building, everything you touch is an energy trap. And there are certain things they'll tell you not to touch, because if you touch them, then you have to come back every week and give a blood sacrifice or whatever to it. but it was, they took me to the main altar, which was hidden in when you're standing in front of it, if you don't know what you're looking at, you don't know that you're what it is. And the way the building is built, anytime you go in, you're feeding this energy, because there's a setup that if you're there, you deserve whatever you get because you came there. But they're not telling you what you're really doing. Yeah, but they're not telling you what you're giving your energy to. So
yeah, they pitched it as a ghost hunting place.
Yeah,
For free. Come
there
on
weren't
in,
even
ghost hunt. It's haunted. You'll get a lot of stuff.
a lot of stuff, and there aren't any ghosts per se. There are trapped spirits because it's an energy trap. It's an energy trap for the people who come. It's an energy trap for the spirits that are there. It's an energy. It's meant. I mean, the whole building is laid out, and there are a lot of things I can't really say at the moment because people would know what I'm talking about. But it's meant to function as a brain, really. And there are vessel dolls that they use that these one major, one minor demonic energy is in. And the people I was with, I didn't know anything. I mean, when I did the remote and went in, I thought, I was trying to make sure they were staying protected, and because they're very stubborn people. They weren't going to not go because I go, don't go in there. That's what made, because one of them said to me, if you tell me not to do it, I'm going to do it. And I thought, real smart. So if it had been me, once I got out of the car, I would have gone back in the car and come home. Yeah. I'd spent $400 that I didn't have to spend to go and do this. And, and thinking it was going to be a ghost hunt, or thinking that's what they thought it was. And they already knew information that I didn't. So it wasn't quite that. And the energy from that kind of place, what it is, it's dark energy and dark matter. It's not like dark energy and dark matter like you know it from science as much, but darker energy it breaks things down to make food. So when you come in, it's going to break you down to make food. You're just there to feed it and keep it going. And I mean, there were some fascinating things, but after 15 minutes, I was like, all right, I'm going home. And there's a witch circle and stuff, I guess. There's witches that work there. And it's got a whole bunch of different things, but he really wants to get, people of dark energy in, because you can come in and do whatever you want, open whatever you want, open whatever portal you want. And the way they kind of approach it is, it's not my fault if something happens to you. You came here. It's your fault. I'm just the facilitator. And which is a load of horse manure. Yeah. And there are a lot of people going there, they don't know what they're doing. And the people I went with, they're furious with me right now, and they will stay that way. Because I was trying to make them do protection stuff, and they don't think they need protection stuff because we know what we're doing. Well, they had ulterior motives. Go ahead.
That's the thing that, I wanted to make people aware of. How do you protect yourself from something like this? Because you don't know when you go in. You think that it's just this that you're doing. How do you protect yourself when you don't know what you're doing, or know where you're going, or what's going to happen?
I'm a 3rd degree energy technician, high magic person in my day, but I was trained in high magic. And at the time, yet 40 years ago, uh, it's hard to go in with all that training and not get that goo on you and not be affected by it. And when I went in, my protective system, my aura was like a condom. It was like, don't touch anything. Don't. And I just wouldn't, I went through and I was able to look at stuff. And the people I was with doing the ghost hunting, this place, because the energy has a good cloaking energy or film around it, you can't really see it until you're in it. Now, when I was at the gate and telling them what I was seeing, one of the girls there told our people, said, he's told us more than anyone's ever seen, which is, and I thought, well, they aren't very good at their jobs if they can't see this coming. But once you're in it, then the cloaking device doesn't work anymore because you're in it. You're in the energy sphere. And it's built to be an energy sphere. And once you leave, it's supposed to leave you alone, but that's not really, it's like you have an energy fiber optic tether. And the whole time I were there was little people trying to pull little energy tricks and give you, oh, here's a rare medallion, take this with you, trying to give you things so that you would take they would have a cell phone thing to your energy. And as soon as we left, I got rid of mine, and the rest of them were like, no, we're going to keep it. And my friend was with me, and she's going, I have to tell you, I want to keep this. And I said, why? And she had to think it out herself. And then finally she got rid of it. Because it's an energy, when people think spells and stuff, it's all energy and it's all magnetism and it's all set up to certain things. So when you go into this kind of facility, which was really like a demon factory, nothing meant except to feed what's in there and to feed the people there. And so you just, I would be very worried for people going in that don't do protective system stuff, because you could get in there and get out if you didn't touch things, because they kept trying to get us to touch stuff that is like hell to the no. And there was one really bad one.
What people don't get, if you touch it, you're leaving your DNA.
You're leaving your DNA, and it's giving them a fiber optic tether to your energy, and you're accepting something you don't even know what you're accepting. And and those people don't give a damn. And it's maniacal, it's malicious, and they're all charming. And but it was pretty much, there's just so much to unpack there, and a lot of it I can't talk about right now, but it takes hours. And the viciousness of it, and they just are so excited over bad things. They said we love to see. Oh yeah,
it's Crystal, my cousin. It's sarcasm. Yeah. She goes, yes, touch the things. I'm sure it'll be fine.
That's the way I was. I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah. Put your fingers on an alleged murder weapon. Go right ahead. Put your fingerprints on that. Yeah. Everything will be great. The thing about it is, they're getting the metaphysical people in there, the ghost hunters, but they're using them as food. And then there are people there that are taking that, infecting other places, and saying that that's ghost activity when it's not. It's just them using that dark energy. That's a different phenomena. That's not ghost. That's a different phenomena.
Yeah, that's
And
creating a web, a web of places. And
yeah,
where I'm concerned is when this is on YouTube, on
yeah,
possibly on TV. We need people not to watch. And
that's
because
well,
they are allowing them in their house at that point.
yeah. Well, the people I was with, uh, I was there to protect them at some point, because I would have left. I would have said, yeah, ain't no way. I'm not going back in here. And it's not out of a fear thing, it's a health issue. This
Yeah.
stuff is so malignant. Every dark magician I ever knew died of cancer and leukemia because it just ate them. And they all think they can control this crap and blah, blah, blah. And the people there, I mean, the owner there was kind of scared of his own stuff. But it's giving him energy and a purpose. And I mean, because the next weekend, 50 people came to investigate, paying a large amount of money. And I channeled when we got in, of course, my aura was really tight around my body. And but the person I was with wanted to, they're doing a show. And so they wanted me to do a thing in the witch's chamber. And I did a channeling. And a lot of stuff I didn't know as much about. But once I did the channeling, then I understood thoroughly. And I've been doing channelings for 40 years, 35, 40 years. And I have like a Teflon coating. So once you do it, then you disengage. And it was pretty interesting. There was an energy there that is in a doll. And I channeled it, found out what it wanted, because it wants out of there. And it was talking about, what it wanted to get out of there with. And it wanted a blonde 18, 20-year-old girl. And so later on, when I tell them that, now a normal person you tell that to will go, oh, well, we'll make sure anyone who goes in there knows that. They were like, oh, we're so excited. So they were so excited for someone to be possessed. And so that
is so irresponsible.
Well,
and
and they all think they're not food, but they're food to the thing. So, I may be, and like I said, I'll probably get in a lot of trouble for talking this stuff. But it's in the channeling I did, at the time I was in a real good relationship with the person who did the filming. But a lot of things got exposed once we left. So, and the first thing, the clips they have, they put the name of the spirit, the energy, not the spirit, but the energy is in the channeling. And I would have, if I had a say in it, I'd say, I wouldn't put that out, for people to hear. But they put that out on a commercial. Because what the guy wants is for people to come and do these things, do commercials basically, and then get more people in. So I thought, well, I would not have gone if I knew it was all this. But I went. And I wanted to protect the people I was with. There were two of them that if I'd done what they really were wanting to do, I'd have told them to take it, stick it, fold it 4 ways, go and stick it and take it home. But I didn't at that time because I didn't know. It was an overwhelming experience. I didn't get to really download everything until I was like 7 hours away from that joint, coming back to Florida. And then everything started downloading, and a lot of things got revealed. So, but out of that kind of place, there's quite a few of those people going around ghost hunting and infecting places. I mean, there were people there that from that place that were supposed to be there that weren't there that day. They'll go in places and say, well, there's a demon here. Well, I think they're bringing the demon with them. Because the more energy they can get out there and do, the more, it'll just infect wherever. And some places it'll stick and some places it won't. But it's not ghost energy. It's that energy. It's ancient, dark energy. And which is a phenomena, but it isn't a ghost. And people, the ghost hunters going in, don't know it, and they open themselves up to it, and you can get that in your life, and all it brings is destruction, because the more energy you put out because you're upset, the more it gets to eat. So ghost hunters need to learn a little bit about energy techniques and what this stuff really is. And my problem when I came back, of course, I have someone who was with me that they, at first everyone was going, well, that's not what that is. It's not like the movies. And I'm like, it's not like the movies. The energy doesn't like to scare the food. You're the food. And what happens is that energy gets in. If the vehicle's accepting of it, then at some point, it does. Your life just spirals out of control, and awful things will happen, and and a lot of things will look like hauntings, but they're not hauntings. And your life just crashes and burns. So
Yeah.
How long were you in there total from the time you got in?
Freaking long. The first night was
First night? You were 2 nights?
Well, because I was on these people's thing, and then once they weren't going to back out, I didn't want to leave them, because I had to go in behind them and say, don't fucking touch that. Don't do that, because they would have. And this person was trying it. And now, there's only one person I would have really cared about, and the other two, whatever. Salute to you. But we were there the first night, and they overdo it all the time anyway. So it from like 6, and they wanted to be there until 3. The next night, I said, no, let's end at 12. I didn't want to go back the second night, and they were insisting on going back the second night. And see, I was not in my own car, because I had traveled with one of the friends to there. Mm-hmm. Because they wanted to keep it all secret, I hadn't told my partner where I was. I told him the town, but we didn't even get the address until 10 minutes before we were supposed to go. And the person that was with me didn't know exactly where. And those people, I'm sure, didn't tell anybody. So, and when you go into this place, it's a big walled-in place. There's only one visible door into the building, so if something happened, I'm sure they could go, well, they just didn't show up. We don't know what happened. So it's a kind of
key thing here is if somebody won't give you the address to where you're going, don't go. That's the first thing.
Well, the person Mark would not normally do that. But because of the things I have been doing with the people we were going, which I gave them all sorts of trust, that was their thing. And they were, like I said, until I went, there's something going on before I got in there, going, well, this, there's a bad juju in there. And they're like, oh, good. But I trusted them because our other investigations had been nothing but ghost investigations, and very serious, got some great stuff. And I had no need to not believe them, but they were, they had their own thing going. And so, but once we all got there, it's, and like I said, the way that energy cloaks itself, you don't know what you're really looking at until you're inside it. And then when you're inside it, it's already trying to work on you. And
it reached out to you before you got there, though, didn't it?
Oh yeah, it did. And I attacked it. I was like, no, and I knew what that was. I didn't know that was that it was like a factory. And when I got to the gate and told them the name of that specific energy, they were, oh yeah, because that's what it's based around. And I went, oh. And it, like I said, it's a different energy than what people are used to understanding, but it's the symbol of what people look for as evil. It really is just, but see, then when you tell the name, or they show the picture, or they show the film, anywhere that goes, you're feeding, people will run to it. There was someone I told you not too long ago. I said, if we had told that person, they would have left 30 minutes later in a van and going knocking on the door, going, oh, let me in. So, and everybody, and the people that after it, the thing that they want to do is what this stuff is. And that's not me. I don't want to do that. I can deal with this stuff, but I don't want to. And that's not out of a fear thing. That's out of just, you want to live. You want to have a life. And if you're in that energy, everything you touch goes to crap. Everything you do. And if you're benefiting it, you may get some benefit, but it's not going to be a benefit for long. And it's just wrong. So, but it's not ghost hunting material.
No, this is making a deal with the devil. Whether it's a devil, a demon, whatever.
Typical way that people. Well, and I've seen several of those people who feel like, they've watched all the movies and they go, well, if I agree to this, and I'm going to get what I want. And it's that typical kind of thing. But all you are is food to this. So the person that, for their ego, that's controlling as much as they can control, which you really can't control that stuff. You can maneuver it a little, but it's like you can't control a 2-year-old. It's dangerous. And but they were special. It was a special experience. It was interesting to dust off my when I went, I was going to take all sorts of different clothes, this, that, and the other. And I ended up taking my 120-year-old ritual robes, and I needed them. And it was interesting. I mean, there were some interesting things about it. People are fascinated with this kind of stuff. The minute you say that that's there, everyone wants to run to it. And they'll be running to it. And so it'll get what it wants.
Yeah.
It'll get what it wants.
Yeah, it's not going to get it from us telling people where it's at.
No.
It's not going to be from us saying its name. It's from what it's going to get is, we're going to warn you people. If somebody says, hey, we got this great place and it's free and it's in Tennessee,
be careful.
Don't go. Don't go.
Yeah. I'm sure there's other ones just like it.
There are.
In other places, yeah.
Well, and practitioners from this will be spreading it around, and that energy will get into other places. And but you have to learn to be able to tell the difference between spirit energy and this energy.
They're
And
totally different.
it's totally different, and people don't know. And I mean, the next weekend they had ghost hunters in there, doing things, touching things, being in the coffins, and doing things that doing a lot of stuff that they shouldn't have done.
Do you think that
And they
this
had
building?
psychics.
Do you think this building is a prototype for other buildings around the world, or
No,
it was a copy of another building somewhere else?
I don't know. Well, I have to be careful or give away too much
No.
information on it. But I think it's just its own self-contained little evil bubble. And they welcome you with open arms. But it takes a while to shake the crap off, even if you're protected. The energy from that will have a tether to you for a couple of weeks. So, and me and my friends, we were getting phone calls, and the disembodied cell phone calls, and phone calls at weird times, when and phone calls from phones that we knew nobody was using at the time. So crazy stuff, the intimidation stuff, the all of that. And then two, it just destroyed, I mean, a lot of relationships. So for me, I mean, it destroyed some very important relationships for me. um but that was their choice.
Yeah.
But and they don't want to hear what I have to say about it. And all of a sudden, I went from being, the tippy top of the highest mountain to being the evil one, because now I have them nailed, you know, and they think they're so mad, they'll be very mad over this.
Well,
So,
it is what it is, and that's all there is to it.
I'll give them the old salute. No, but
Well,
because because um, it's just crazy stuff. And it's
yeah,
like, but I've seen several people out of this energy that it's all about, they think they're a star and they're going to be a star. Or the people that associated with this that I had to deal with, they'll be going, they're trying to damage me. Well, no, you did a damn good job of it on your own. You know, I just don't like dealing with people that are sneaky and have ulterior motives.
Right.
And but this energy was it was a good time to brush off my tools and everything, because I went, oh, I was very trusting of these people, and I don't want to be jaded, not trust people. But I hadn't had to deal with this in 40 years, this kind of stuff, and not this intense.
yeah.
And so it taught me it taught me a lesson that it was good to be who I am. Because if you're young and you're going through this, if that stuff gets in your life, it will, your family, your pets, everything suffers, your life suffers. Nothing good comes out of that kind of dark energy, because all it's going to do is break down. It takes what's living and breaks it down into soil they can use. And all you are is a form of food and soil. That's it. There's nothing pretty, nothing sweet about it. Um, and the people I work with, they've got a couple of shows that I've done with them that they're not gonna release for a while, and this is one of them. And if I had a say on it, there would be a lot of it that wouldn't be showing, because I was still working under the contacts that, I was doing stuff for them, and we were doing it, and they had taken this chance to be there. But when I did the channeling, I wouldn't have done that, because that's a advertisement for the place, because people will see it and they'll want to go see this, and it just is. So no matter what you do when you go in, it's just everyone associated in it. It's just very manipulative and very uh, constant. There is no getting your breath and looking at it. You have to really deal with it. And like I said, when I was there, if I'd known what I knew 2 days later, I would have told them all where to stick it, and I would have taken my friend that was with me and said, "Get in your car. We're gone." But once you've gone that far and you're there, and I thought I was having to protect them, well, then after it was all over, they were like, "Oh, we didn't need protection. We don't need protection. We know what we're doing. We can control it." And I'm like, "No, you can't." And everybody, because it's not The Exorcist, there weren't things flying around. They don't understand. But I wish people would quit using that as the textbook. That's not a textbook. That is.
They need to understand that's Hollywood. Hollywood can do things that can't be done otherwise, and a demon can do stuff that Hollywood can't do, and that's what they need to keep in mind. And I have a friend. She'll go through these movies, and she's got one of her shows is, can a demon really do that? Breaking down what happens in these movies, like with The Exorcist. Can a demon really do that? And it's like, yes, they can do that, but no, they can't do this.
Yeah.
And yes, I know The Exorcist doesn't have a lot of CGI because it didn't exist then, but it does now. And you have to be skeptical of everything that you see on the internet, on a movie, on TV. Here, you can be skeptical of us, but this is what we are. This is all live. We did not cut this, because if we had, you wouldn't have seen the technical difficulties that we had just a little bit ago, where my computer decided it wanted to go on Wi-Fi instead of being hardwired like it is all the time. Yeah. Never happens, okay?
Well,
so this is real.
It's all energy, and it's all, and people, I understand it's entertainment, and we all love something scary. And this stuff is scary stuff. Would be scary to the average Joe. It'd be very scary. To me, it's just nasty. And it's just, but like I said, all the people I know that would dip their wicks into this stuff, it all ends badly. They don't have happy, beautiful lives. Yeah. And if they get money or they get anything, they're never satisfied. And you see it in the world right now. People who have millions of dollars, and they're not satisfied one bit, and causing chaos and causing pain to people. That's the same kind of thing. It's like it's a hunger that never stops. And the problem is that the hunger in the person, they're having to accept or go along. It will break you down enough to where you think that voice is your voice, your conscience. And eventually that's all you follow. And, but the people, I know, interested in this, that's fine. Whatever it takes, whoever they need to run over, whatever they need to get what they want, that's fine. And to them, they don't see the problem with that.
Yeah.
And I do, but since I was kind of, once I got it, since I couldn't tell until I got in there what it was, and it wasn't a ghost hunt. And and my thing was, well, don't tell me anything. Well, that beforehand, well, that got used to get that. That taught me something right there.
Well, the thing is they, regardless, Mark, they weren't going to tell you the truth, regardless.
Of course not. And I was just fodder. And they already had something, like I said, after it's over, a lot of things came to light that were not, and I had to bring them to light because I had to call the person and go, you mean, and because they weren't going to be upfront or honest with me, which is like, if you'd been honest with me, I would have gone, sure, I'm not doing that. I'll help you with ghost hunting, but I won't help with that. But that's what they want to do, because there's so many people who want to be demon masters and think they are, and it's like, you're not. The minute that you accept it, there are people who know how to control it enough, but at some point it gets them.
Yeah.
Because you're in a physical body. You get tired, you get sick, you get old. It doesn't. It's an energy. So it can wear your ass down. Excuse my language. So I learned, and I think out of it for me, what I learned that, because this was a really good, I enjoyed my time with these people before all of this.
Yeah.
Had a great time.
Yeah. What's happened since with everybody you went with?
Well, one of them is still my dear, dear, dear friend. And the ones that I went with are my whatever. The minute after
acquaintances now, I guess.
No, not even
not
now.
Even acquaintances now.
No.
Nope.
They're
way over here now.
Because I dared to say what I nailed it. And I'm not even worthy of a response. And that's fine. They can take that and, do whatever. The problem is we have several big shows, and this is the last one I did with them that they haven't released, and I don't. There's but we'll sell this. But when I got there, I felt a little tricked, but I thought, well, and because I had other things when they were planning to do this at some point, and it just I don't know. There was a lot of stuff going on in everybody's lives that was getting their attention started. And in my life, there were things that it was a lot of drama to look at, so I wouldn't be looking at what I was about to go see. And then once I got in there, there's no more filter. And then you see it. When you're standing at ground zero, there is no hiding, And so it was like trick. Well, it's like psychics. Everything we do, our body is our tool. Now, I've had my days, where my tool will be off.
I guess we're having some difficulties.
And the TV, and so well, like the time when I went to Mamacita's and had the thing in the morning, I hadn't eaten when I went, and after we sat there for a few hours, and then when we went to the cemetery, I barely remember the cemetery thing, I think, because I had I was just dealing with having diabetes, and also besides diabetes, I have a little bit of hyperglycemia. So I've learned, in the morning when you do something, always eat, always, did it. Because I just thought, we're going to go, la, 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 la. And But so when I go and do these things, I have to make sure my equipment is in good working order. The good thing is I had done a month's worth of meditation before I went to this place. The good thing is when I did this channeling for them, which I did, like I said, there's so much deceptive energy in the place that, the good thing is for me, I know my tools enough and have them in order enough to not come out of there infected. Um, but I mean, before we left, that person was trying to do little sex magic this and sex magic that, and give us everybody something to keep them tethered, and it was crazy. So it's just trick. But when you go into places like this, I mean, that place, if people go to it, they'll know it's what it is if they're worth their salt once they get in there. The problem is once you've gone in, it's set up so that if you came to the door through the portal, that you are responsible for whatever happens to you. The thing I don't like is that now, since I was there and filmed things for them, they were filming me, did my interview before I did the channeling. And I wasn't opening myself up very hard for it because I was still going like this. So I thought if you had done the interview after the channeling, it would have been a whole different story. And the next day I didn't want to go back. I had to because I felt like I had to be there with them, and I had to follow them up to keep everybody from touching stuff they shouldn't touch, because that place there, they try to get you to touch everything, and it's just crazy. So hopefully, um, if you're a ghost hunter and you start to sense that it's stuff like that, that's nothing to sit and talk to. That's something to get your butt up and go home. But that's not what people do. They want, oh, this will be good ratings. Well, is it worth it? What is it worth for your family to have disaster, or your pets to die, or your loved ones to suffer, or for you to be unhappy? Because that's what happens. Everything goes to crap. And then you begin, and a lot of people, it terrorizes people to where you're just always afraid. And it's like, so why do it? That's not, as a metaphysical person, I would say for me, I like weird stuff. I love great ghost stories. I love scary stuff like that. This to me isn't scary stuff. It's horrible stuff. And it's not something that I like to see people get exposed, because they're exposing people who cannot protect themselves, and it will cause multiple personalities in people. You take that home around your children if you have a special needs child, or you're pregnant, or because all of that energy in there is a rebirthing kind of thing, and it's meant for transferring of self. So they're transferring energies from that place into people, if possible. And and the people who are there, they'll be, like I said, they all act charming, but that's not charming to do that to people. That doesn't make you a good person, hoping for the disaster for someone else's life. And but anything we say, like I said, we just did an advertisement for them. Me doing the show, not having a say, because I can't have a say on what was filmed now, because believe me, there is no communication, and except in a roundabout, backbitey way. Because I'll take them on face forward. If they want to have a face forward thing, I would love to. I would have a little conversation with these people. But but the way these people are doing it's some of them are got the star thing going, and they want to infect places, and it's going to be more of that than actual ghost stuff. But and it is dramatic and can be scary, and it's, I think people need to find a way to become educated to where they know the difference, and a lot
How
of
can
that
they
just
do that?
comes from doing that.
Yeah, how can they get educated on something like this?
Well, see, for me, I was exposed to a lot of metaphysics when I was young, and of course, then I got through the old training system. So, a lot of that, you know, comes from experience. But when you're talking ghost hunting and paranormal people, they're not looking at it as, they're just going in to get the stuff recorded and get the ratings. And the things I would do is I would make sure before I go to anywhere, I have my, you need to understand your energy, where your aura functions from, how you can turn it up and turn it down and control it and have your sphere of energy controllable. If you've got that, you're ahead of the game. If you do a meditation where you can get the light from the top, turn the light on at the top of your head, which is just from your neurons, from your pineal gland, turn your neurons on, turn your aura on, have the light go into your hands, and draw a circle around you, and then fill that with your light. See a little dial up here like a radio dial, and then go 1, 2, 3, snap, turn it up, 1, 2, 3, turn it down. Do it a few times until you understand and can turn your aura up and turn it down. And at the end of it, you never turn it off. You always go, circle is dismissed but never broken, and then you turn it down, and that way you're not wasting energy. But when you go into these places, you go 1, 2, 3, turn your aura up, and then you have some protection. But if you're not a metaphysical practitioner or energy technician, any weaknesses in your energy field, anything, or even just globbing onto you or shooting out at you, they'll shoot fetches at you, energy gathering.
Do you think that common sense helps in any case?
Well, there's not a whole hell of a lot of that.
I know. Darn, why'd I ask that? Damn.
Whole lot of that. And like I said, for me, my common sense would have said, girl, get back in the car, you're going home. And then I was there and felt responsible for the people that I thought didn't know.
But that still is common sense, because you're worried about some. But it's also your heart.
And and then too, after it was over, I went, well, hell, they filmed me doing a channeling. Here I am. I just gave them their commercial, and that's really. And I went, it gets what it wants when you're in the field. And but like I said, it ruined some real good relationships for me. But they weren't real relationships.
No, you found that out after the fact.
They had an intent, and they were cloaking it because they were dipping in that energy. And
Tom,
when that dark energy
Tom has a question for you.
Sure.
Tom has a question for you before you go too much further on.
Okay.
What do you use for protection? You were talking about the aura and all that. What do you use? How? And you talked about how you control yours, but what if? Okay, this is Denise being Denise. What if someone says, I can control all of this stuff, and they're bullshitting?
Well, then
and they get taken over.
Or they don't understand, and they're trying, but they don't understand. Now we have a lot of ADHD. People can't focus enough to turn their light on. I don't know. Because It's like, good luck, girl. Run.
Kick off them heels and go. Okay,
Go
got it.
barefoot. Well, see, the thing is, because of the meditations I use daily for years and years and years, I have like a good waxy buildup. So if something's trying to get in my energy that I don't want, I can eject it. Someone who's not got quite that, I don't know what to tell you. Because if you get around this is like dipping your hand in tar, or I kind of did an analogy of like, it's like, because the people were going, well, we don't need protection. And I was like, that's like going into a nuclear plant, sticking your hands into radiation and wonder why you're melting. It's all energy. You have to approach it as a technician. You have to use protection in dealing with this energy. And if you are going into these places, and some people don't do any kind of energy work before they go in, they just go into these places, open up, and then, whatever happens, happens. And depression and addictions and drinking and drugs can damage your aura. And that's just a weak spot that, something's looking for. And
you just said something that made me think about a book that I read called I forgot the name of the damn book now.
That's
the Joseph Chone book.
Oh,
Seduced.
Yeah.
The book Seduced by Joseph Chone. He talks about what you're talking about right now. He was seduced by the devil and what the devil can give you.
Yeah.
Until he figured out how to get out of it.
Oh, yeah. Well, the thing is, I've seen other people that all of a sudden I went from being someone who knew a lot, because we were doing very hard, heavy psychic stuff in their other shows. But the minute I started talking this stuff, now I don't know anything. I've seen, what happens, and I've had to tell other people, I go, it's such a seductive, it is a seductive energy. What it does when this energy, when it approaches people, it gives you a big dose of oxytocin. And when it does, then you feel relaxed and happy. And then if your system is willing, then it's there, And but these people, one person was going, well, it was friendly and it was sweet. Of course, it's big, it's ugly, it's got wings, but it was friendly, and it, it's my friend, and that's someone who's wanting that kind of thing, So, and see, for me, a lot of people would look at me because I'm a psychic and a witch and a they think that's evil. Well, no, evil is what evil does. And I'm just an earthy person who believes that I'm part of the world, I'm part of the energy, I'm part of the universe. Everything is kind of connected, and I like to have a good life. And what's good to me is just peace and fun stuff. I like to do fun stuff, and I like to do psychic stuff. But things that hurt other people, I'm not so thrilled with. I don't like to see other people get the thrill out of hurting other people. Because in nature, we have predators just as well as in nature you have the hawks and the eagles and the owls. We have our natural predators, and this is part of the natural predator kind of thing. And right now, with the disruption in energy with people, where it's gotten so hate is very vibrant, that's why this stuff comes to the surface, because it's a feeding frenzy. And there's so many people that are just so angry. They just want to hurt someone else because they're angry. They're not pretty, or their life didn't turn out, or whatever. So they turn it on someone else. And it's like, take responsibility for your own damn life. Not everybody gets over the rainbow. And doing something and hurting people and throwing people under a bus for a freaking sheer idea or ratings or whatever you want to call it is not, that, what is that? That's just rotten. Right. So you're causing trouble. So how are you going to get something good out of that? But it's like I said, it's like the tar pit. There'll be so many people will run to places like this and run to this energy. They run to it and get stuck in the tar and then wonder why they're dying.
And they're going to be asking for help.
And then they're asking for help.
Yeah, and there's going to be people that aren't going to be able to help them.
I know cases I've known, and in my life, I was trying to count it up. I've only known really 3 people beforehand that had what I would consider possession. And 2 of them were mild and 1 of them wasn't. It ended when the person was decapitated in a freak accident. But this kind of stuff, no, you'll be seeing a big rise in that. And there are energies, spirits on the other side who try to help and protect people from this energy. And, if they feel like that there's an energy doing something to harm people in a way they shouldn't or couldn't, can't take care of it. I mean, there are energies that will step in to try and help, because there are certain things that keep things in balance. And there are a lot of dark energies that are not dark energies. They're not bad energies. They're just earthy. And then there are a lot of light beings that are so intense they're frightening. So you can't just tell by the cover of the book, But yeah, it's been interesting. So ask questions. I'm talking a lot. So
you know what? We are near the end of the show. Sorry, Todd, but it is what it is. And Todd, tell CJ we said hi. We said hi to you guys at the very beginning of the show. So if you go back and listen to the beginning, you'll hear that. But I'd like to thank everybody for listening. But Mark, where can everybody find you? And when do we expect to hear about your cooking show?
Well, you can find me on Facebook. I'm Mark Elliott Fults, ELLIOTT FULTS, on Facebook. And I'm working on the cooking show because I'm intended on having fun and being silly and scaring people with ghost stories, not demon stories. But that should be coming out. I'm really aiming at trying about mid-August. We should have our first one out. And then once I can get the first one, that's the hardest. But like I said, I've got to get everything nailed down, about there's a lot of legal things you have to do before you get everything, So we're doing that. So if someone wants to contact me on Facebook, they are more than welcome to. And the books will be coming, and on Amazon you can find, if you put in Mark Fults FULTS, you can find all my books, and we're just doing that, and Sin Schrader Hill, she does books with me, and she just put out a really good book about death omens and things like that. So look up Sin Schrader Hill and you'll see my stuff and Teal Gray's, and so So that's where you can find me all over the place right now on that.
Well, we look.
But
Yeah. Well, we look forward to seeing you at our next Milton meetup in
sure.
August, and hopefully you can make it, and hopefully you'll have an update on when your YouTube extravaganza will be ready for everyone to see. Because I can't wait to see your recipes. Because I know last year you talked about pumpkin fudge. You talked about it, and I
Yeah,
can't wait to experience that.
it's weird. And I will,
It does
before I
sound
leave,
good.
I will apologize to people because the place that I went to, if I could have taken that back, I wouldn't have done that. But it was meant for me to go. So, where I'm sorry that if telling it makes somebody want to find this place or look at this stuff, but hopefully the idea is don't do it, girls.
Yeah, don't do it.
Yeah,
Go find
that's the big
something
thing.
else. Go find real ghosts.
Yeah,
Right.
go. Yeah, find a different one.
That is the reason that I wanted to bring awareness to the fact that some of these places say that they're for paranormal investigations, and it's not a paranormal investigation. It is it's digging into you. It's going to take something from you, not you going to find something, to learn something. It's going to be you being taken advantage of. But I'd like to thank everyone for joining us tonight on the Paranormal Pride. You can catch us here each and every Monday night at 7 p.m. Central here on the Paranormal Pride Facebook and YouTube channels, on the Denise Pridemore LinkedIn, on the Bill of Rights Network, on the Things Network, and also on the Temple of Phoenix Rising Entertainment. But you can also catch us on Dark Realm TV on Roku and Amazon Fire, and soon to be coming to Apple TV. So check those out. And if you have any questions about any of this tonight, please let me know, and I'll do my best to get you an answer or get you steered to Mark so he can answer you. But we're not going to tell you where the place is, so don't ask us that. We're not telling you.
Right.
And on top of that, tomorrow night, join us at 6 p.m. Central for Paranormal Nation Radio, Not So Normal, where we are going to be talking to Tim Scullion. We had him on in the past. He is the paranormal photographer. He takes pictures that are amazing, and they always seem to have something in them that makes you second guess what you thought about paranormal pictures. So check us out tomorrow night when Carl, Ron, and I kind of grilled Tim a little bit. So it'll be good. So check us out, and thank you guys, and have a great night. We appreciate each and every one of you for coming and listening tonight. Good night.